Do you know what you should not be doing during Mercury retrograde? Here's a video that will show you how you can avoid the storm during Mercury retrograde and survive this period so that things don't go retro in your life. I am Vaishali Nikhade, an engineer turned psychic. Watch, take notes, and learn so that you too can leverage the power of stars in your love life. What not to do during Mercury retro. Hello everybody, welcome to another video on Mercury retrograde, and this one is about what you shouldn't be doing during Mercury retrograde. I have a video about what to do about Mercury retrograde as well, so if you like you can look at that and then compare the two, and that way you'll kind of have a segmented list on what you should be doing during Mercury retrograde and what you shouldn't be doing during Mercury retrograde. If we haven't met before, my name is Vaishali Nikhade. I am an engineer turned psychic, and as a psychic, I read lots of clients, and a lot of clients have questions about their romantic relationships. And we're going to focus in this video on how Mercury retrograde is going to impact the romantic relationships, or what you shouldn't be doing during Mercury retro for a relationship if it's already an active relationship. So there are different parameters as far as Mercury retrograde is concerned. One is the length of how long the retro period occurs, and it's approximately around 3 weeks. And Mercury goes retro around 3 to 4 times a year. So every time it goes retro, the approximate period of time during which it goes retro is 3 weeks. And every time it goes retro in a different sign, which means that sometimes it may be retrograde in the sign of Aries, and sometimes it may be retrograde in Leo, and sometimes it may be retrograde in Sagittarius, or Virgo, or Cancer, or Capricorn, or any other sign. There's only 12 signs of the zodiac, so it will be in one of the signs that it is going to go retrograde. Now, sometimes what may happen is it may fall from one sign to the other, which means that let's say that it was when it started, the retrograde period was in Gemini, which is the third zodiac sign, and then it may kind of fall back into Taurus. So that is also possible during a retro period. And in this case, you will get the effect of two signs. So first you will get the effect of the Gemini, and then you will get the effect of Taurus. And the sign is going to influence how it's going to impact the outcome in terms of what you see, or what results you get, or what effect it has in your life. So just like I gave an example before, which is like, think of it as eating an ice cream flavor, and let's say that you have three different flavors, which is you don't have any plain ice cream, so the plain ice cream is the base, and then you have chocolate, you have strawberry, and let's say you have cherry. And even though the base is the same, the taste is going to be different. Some people may like chocolate, some may like strawberry, and some may like cherry. So, in a similar way, the sign in which Mercury goes retrograde is going to impact the outcome, whether you like it or not. In the case of an ice cream, you have control over what you can choose. In the case of Mercury retro, you have no control. You have to kind of anticipate the effects of that particular sign. And so the impact is going to be on the sign, uh, or in the sign in which it goes retrograde. All right, so we are going to see what you need to avoid, or what you shouldn't be doing during a Mercury retrograde period. So Mercury as a planet, it rules communication, and when it goes retrograde, it is going to impact communication. How does it impact communication? In the form of glitches. For instance, let's say that you want to send an email to someone. Let's say that you got into a new relationship and you're sending an email to someone, and you think that you sent the email, but it's still sitting in your box as a draft. So that could be a glitch. Okay. Or you are about to send it, and let's say that the electricity goes down, or your internet goes down, and maybe it destroys your email and you didn't have a backup. That could also be a glitch. So the lesson is to always make sure that whatever you planned to do actually took place. You planned to send an email, so make sure that it doesn't sit in the draft folder. This is an example from real life. So make sure that it doesn't sit in the draft folder. And if you're going to compose it, then make sure you have a copy. So just in case something happens and it gets destroyed, then you still have a copy of the email. The second one is a mistake. The mistake could be like maybe you get a message, a text message from someone, and it's a wrong number. So that's a mistake. And maybe you don't have somebody's number saved in and you type that number manually and then you send it to the wrong number. That could be a mistake. So once again, you have to cross check and double check and make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed when you communicate during Mercury retrograde. Otherwise, it is very likely that something is going to happen that you didn't really anticipate or you didn't really want. So that is as far as communication is concerned. There's another example from a client of mine called Hina. This, of course, not her real name. And what she did was during Mercury retrograde period, she dropped her cell phone. Now, dropping your cell phone, it may or may not be a small thing, depending on what kind of cell phone you have and where you drop it and how you drop it. In her case, it fell on a rock and her screen cracked. So that is something, again, you need to be aware of. Cell phone is a means or a method of communication, and Mercury rules communication. And during the retrograde period, it is going to try and play all sorts of pranks. And in this particular case, what happened is unintentionally her phone dropped and her screen cracked. So essentially, what you should be doing is you need to be very careful of anything and everything related to communication, and you shouldn't really be taking any chances as far as communication is concerned during the Mercury retrograde period. So there could be mistakes with technology, which means that maybe your email stays in the draft folder, or maybe it doesn't go out and it gets wiped out because maybe there's a storm and it blows your internet off and your email is destroyed. So that could be another email. Maybe you're trying to text someone and the phone drops, just like it happened to the previous example, Hina. And then your text, you forgot to send the text because whatever you intended to do, your mind was, oh my God, my phone dropped and my screen cracked, and what am I going to do? And you completely forgot to send the text. So essentially, it's again related to technology, related to communication, and it's a mistake as far as communication is concerned. Which means that as far as communication is concerned during the retrograde period, you need to check and cross check and double check and even triple check in certain instances, because you will find that somewhere along there was like a small mistake which could have been avoided had you checked or double checked. Now, another thing which you shouldn't really be doing if you can avoid it is starting a new relationship. And I have another video on a relationship that started during Mercury retro and how it played out. And I don't remember the exact title, but I'll link the video here. But essentially, it's about starting a new relationship in Mercury retrograde. So if you can avoid it, you should avoid it. If it's totally out of your control and it just happens, then you can go with the flow. But you need to be extremely careful about the communication at least until the retro period is over, because at the end of the day, Mercury is just going to impact the communication, and communication can also be a major problem in relationships. This just intensifies the problem or exaggerates the problem. So essentially, you need to be careful about how communication goes if you start a new relationship. What else you shouldn't be doing? New contracts or getting new tech. So technically, you shouldn't really be signing any sort of contract with anyone during Mercury retrograde. And once again, if you do have to sign it, and if you can't really avoid it, then make sure that everything has been checked out. Like whatever clauses needed to be in the contract, they are in the contract, and whatever doesn't need to be in the contract is out of the contract. But you need to just make sure that the contract is completely solid and bulletproof. Otherwise, you should kind of avoid signing the contract if you can. And also purchasing new technology, because you may find that something goes wrong with the technology, or you need to replace it, or it doesn't really work the way you expected it to work. So that is also something you can avoid. And all these are just guidelines on if you can. If you can't, then you can't, and you just need to double check and triple check and make sure that everything is kind of foolproof. So here's homework for you, which is find a past retrograde period. And the way to find the past retrograde period is just go to Google and type in Mercury retrograde and then whatever the year you want. So type in the year of the retrograde period, and then you find out what happened. If you were already in a relationship, then how things played out. Or if you started a new relationship, how things played out. Or if you bought a piece of tech, new technology, like a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet or something else, then how things played out as far as that particular piece of technology was concerned. Or if there were any issues in communication with someone, if you forgot to send an email, if you got an email or a phone call or a text message from a wrong number. All these are kind of things that you can experience during this period, and all these are things that you can also double check and avoid bad impacts or bad outcomes or undesirable outcomes. If you're just like a little bit more careful, then you would be normally not taking things for granted and just double checking everything over and over again just to make sure. So that's all you need to know for what you need to avoid during the Mercury retro period. And if you are looking as to how you can leverage the stars in order to meet your perfect person, then I have a special freebie or a special gift called the Cosmic Secrets. And these are 5 secrets which you can use in order to speed up your search. And these secrets, each of these elements has one exercise that you need to perform, and you'll only get value from this particular freebie if you actually download it and perform the exercise. If it's like one element a day, or if you want to do it faster, you could do one element in the morning and one element in the evening, and then you could be done in like 2.5 days. If you're really busy and you want to do it one a day, you could do it in 5 days. And once you have done all those exercises, it will kind of help you see what it is that you need to do in order to move forward. So I'm going to put that link here as well, and feel free to download that. And I'll see you in the next video. So you're a single woman, not getting nearly as many quality dates as you'd like, and you just can't figure out why, no matter how hard you try. Well, let me show you why. You're not leveraging the power of the stars. Stars were used for navigation in ancient times, and you too can use these stars as a GPS for you to guide you to move forward in your love life. I'm Vaishali Nikhade, an engineer turned psychic, and I would like to introduce you to the 5 elements of cosmic secrets that influence your search. I have a free guide for you called Cosmic Secrets, and in this free guide, I share each of the 5 elements that can help you fast track your search. You can work on one element per day and get to know how the stars can give you a jump start. When you're done, you can message me via email to take advantage of a special opportunity